Tonight, new signs of defiance across the West over the early actions by the Trump administration. From lawsuits to protests, many critics are demanding to be heard.
It's a lie that they're only looking for people who are criminals.
And good evening, everyone. Welcome to West Coast Wrap. I'm Alex Savage. There is quite a bit of pushback against President Trump's policies on two fronts tonight. A lawsuit was filed earlier today in San Francisco over a demand that federal workers respond to an email with their accomplishments or risk being fired. Also in Southern California, activists now are using a new approach trying to disrupt the administration's illegal immigration crackdown. We begin with tonight's deadline for millions of federal workers across the country who received an email over this past weekend demanding they list their recent accomplishments by midnight tonight or risk being fired. Attorneys representing several groups, including unions, veterans, and conservation organizations, filed a lawsuit in California today arguing that mandate violates the law. Trump advisor Elon Musk made the demand via email as part of his effort to cut the federal workforce. President Trump today showed support for the tactic.
There was a lot of genius in sending it. We're trying to find out if people are working. Tell us what you did this week. What he's doing is saying, are you actually working? And then if you don't answer, like you're sort of semi-fired or you're fired, because a lot of people are not answering because they don't even exist.
Some agencies in the federal government have instructed their employees not to respond at all to Musk's email. That includes NASA, the Defense Department, and the FBI.
As you just indicated, Kash Patel, who's now the director of the FBI, told his employees not to respond.
Right.
Because Elon Musk doesn't have the authority to do that.
The White House is calling that lawsuit filed today over Musk's demand, quote, frivolous. A new ruling by a federal judge blocks immigration agents from conducting enforcement operations in some houses of worship. Today's preliminary injunction applies only to direct plaintiffs in this case, which includes a Sikh temple in California. Plaintiffs sued after the Trump administration threw out Department of Homeland Security policies that limited where migrant arrests can happen. The judge in this case sided with plaintiffs who say the policy hinders religious freedom. Activists are working to disrupt immigration enforcement operations in Southern California. Late today, federal law enforcement sources told Fox News that activists are distributing flyers with photos and personal information of ICE agents in the Los Angeles area. Fox 11's Christina Gonzalez shows us how some immigration activists are also showing up at ICE staging areas.
Activists from immigration community group Unión del Barrio facing off with immigration enforcement agents at an Alhambra neighborhood, where agents had been spotted earlier staging at a nearby parking lot Sunday morning. The image especially concerning to the executive director of the local chapter for Asian Americans Advancing Justice.
When you take a city like Alhambra, that's more than 50% Asian American and predominantly Chinese, the community is feeling very scared and confused and anxious.
The only LA detention posted by ICE from yesterday's actions is that of Julio Lopez, described as a Guatemalan gang member convicted of assault with a deadly weapon. Some residents I spoke with that did not want to go on camera say the arrest of undocumented criminals, that does make them feel safer. ICE officials reiterate they do not target non-citizens indiscriminately, which activists dispute.
ICE is going up and sweeping other people as well. And they're taking
this yourself. I mean, you've seen this within the community.
Yes.
Here is ICE's latest data on its website. It shows statistics last year under the Biden administration in blue, overall detentions of people with criminal convictions. Orange, those with only immigration violations. Definitely more orange than blue, 2024 and before. Stats for 25 have not been posted on the site.
You have rights under the Constitution.
But immigration attorneys say they haven't seen this kind of activity in local communities ever, not even during Trump's first presidency.
There's grown men coming into my office shaking.
She says people are afraid to come forward.
There are cases of people known that do not have any old removal orders, who have never committed a crime in the time that they've been present in the United States, that are being picked up.
And that was Fox 11's Christina Gonzalez reporting tonight. In the San Francisco Bay Area, dozens of people gathered earlier today outside Travis Air Force Base in Solano County to protest the base's role in deportations. The demonstrators demanded the military base stop conducting deportation flights. Today's protest took place 2 weeks after Travis confirmed that its aircraft are participating in immigration enforcement operations. And to stay on top of the latest actions by the Trump administration and Elon Musk's Department of Government Efficiency, head to our website, westcoastwrap.com. Our online coverage there includes live updates on tonight's deadline for federal workers. Some Arizona communities are looking forward to getting a big boost from Apple's new $500 billion investment. Fox 10's Steve Nielsen shows us how the tech giant is planning to ramp up manufacturing in the Phoenix Valley.
It's still unclear how many billions are coming here, but make no mistake, TSMC in Phoenix is a key part of this investment.
Just a few years ago, there were dirt roads around TSMC's advanced manufacturing facility, but now Taiwan Semiconductor's facility is underway and still growing. Another shot in the arm for the facility Monday morning as Apple said they will commit to a multi-billion-dollar investment to make advanced silicon here. It's just one piece in their $500 billion commitment to invest in America manufacturing.
The clear winners from this announcement right off the bat are going to be Texas and Arizona.
Arizona Chamber of Commerce CEO Danny Seiden says Arizona is key in this investment and an indicator of the state's semiconductor economy.
This is all about building out that ecosystem that has really made us the #1 semiconductor manufacturing state in the country right now.
The $500 billion investment also comes with a promise of 20,000 jobs. It remains unclear how much money or how many jobs are headed for us. Apple CEO Tim Cook says they're bullish on the American economy. They're already the largest customer of TSMC's Phoenix factory. The factory started mass producing chips for Apple last month. President Donald Trump posting in part, "The reason? Faith in what we are doing, without which they wouldn't be investing 10 cents. Seiden said this won't be the last big investment announcement here.
I mean, our pipeline is loaded. We have a lot of good news on the way. We just have to make sure we're continuing to do what we need to do in terms of building up our energy grid and investing in the right things and keeping our policy environment right, keeping our tax and regulatory environment low.
To demonstrate Apple's connection to TSMC, it was actually right here when in 2022, CEO Tim Cook told everyone that Apple would be buying American-made chips right here. Steve Nielsen, Fox 10 News.
Starbucks is laying off workers and scaling back its menu. The coffee shop chain will eliminate more than 1,000 corporate positions and will not fill several hundred openings. The CEO says the goal here is to operate more efficiently. Those cuts will not be affecting any of the workers at Starbucks locations. And next month, Starbucks will also be removing 13 drinks that it describes as less popular from its menu. In Oakland, a housing authority police officer was wounded during a shootout with a suspect early today. That exchange of gunfire also left the suspect injured, but both of them are expected to survive. This all unfolded just before 1 o'clock this morning. Police say housing authority officers were carrying out a traffic stop when the suspect opened fire from inside a car. One of the bullets hit an officer in her leg, and police returned fire, hitting the suspect. Nearby business owners say they're surprised this happened in their neighborhood.
I'm not surprised this happened in Oakland. I'm just shocked it happened on this street. It's typically just homeless activity, break-ins, steal tools from time to time, that kind of stuff. It's usually nothing like what I just heard.
This is the third time this month that police in the East Bay have come under fire. Last week, an assault suspect fired at San Leandro police, and earlier this month, an Oakland police officer was fired at while sitting in his patrol car. And in Sonoma County, California, the community of Santa Rosa is mourning the loss of 2 teenagers who died from suspected fentanyl overdoses over this past weekend. 16-year-old Gia and 18-year-old Logan were found dead Saturday in a bedroom at a home on Brookwood Drive. Today at Santa Rosa High School, classmates left flowers and messages for Gia, and across town at Montgomery High School, flowers and a sign were left in memory of Logan. Police say the teens didn't know the drugs they were taking were laced with fentanyl.
And she was very, very young. She was just too young
to be taken this soon.
Detectives are alerting everyone in the community to be on the lookout for small bags of drugs that have a peace sign on them. 2 other teenagers overdosed earlier in the day on Saturday, and both of them were hospitalized. Detectives have arrested one person, 21-year-old Ramon Nunez. He was taken into custody at a shopping center, and police say evidence appears to link him to both of those cases. Coming up tonight here on West Coast Wrap, Los Angeles County's new district attorney says he's close to making a decision on whether to support the resentencing bid by the Menendez brothers, what he told TMZ about the evidence he's weighing.
And a live look over LAX, where Southern California is expected to peak between 15 and 20 degrees above average later this week. A better look at what we can expect in the West coming up.
Also coming up tonight, see what happens when tensions rise during a heated town hall in Idaho.
Sheriff Norris, this gentleman is assaulting me. You out now. This man is assaulting me. You out now. Let's go. This man is assaulting me.
There's an opportunity for you to sound off, but not right now. You folks who are just popping off with stupid remarks, you're not taking into account the people sitting next to you.
Some heated moments during a legislative town hall meeting in Idaho. And tonight there's an outpouring of support for a woman who was forcibly removed from that event. Cell phone video captured the woman's exchange with the speakers at that town hall meeting. This all unfolded Saturday night in Coeur d'Alene. Teresa Borenpol is a Democrat who unsuccessfully ran for a state legislative seat in 2024. She repeatedly heckled speakers during the Republican-hosted town hall. At one point, the sheriff asked her to leave. She refused. And then 3 men in plain clothes approached her, asking her to leave. Witnesses say the men refused to identify themselves when Borenpol inquired.
Excuse me, Sheriff Norris, this gentleman is assaulting me. You out now. This man is assaulting me. You out now. Let's go. This man is assaulting me.
Later, those men were identified as private security officers. The company has not commented yet on the situation. Borenpol is accused of biting someone involved in removing her from that event. She was issued a misdemeanor citation for battery. More than $100,000 has already been raised for her legal expenses. Her supporters say that she was wrongfully detained. A sheriff's office spokesperson says an outside agency is now investigating exactly what happened here. Well, within the next week or two, the Los Angeles County District Attorney is expected to announce whether he will support a resentencing bid for the Menendez brothers. During an interview with TMZ, DA Nathan Hochman said he is weighing all of the evidence right now, including new evidence that Lyle and Eric were sexually abused by their parents. The brothers are serving life sentences without parole for killing their father, Jose Menendez, and mother, Kitty Menendez, at their home in Beverly Hills in 1989. Hochman's predecessor, George Gascon, recommended the brothers be resentenced to 50 years to life, making them eligible for parole. But DA Hochman has not yet taken a position.
While he did not come out and say that he does support a resentencing, he did make it very clear that he was going to really, with a keen eye, look at this evidence, examine the evidence, and then sometime here over the next week or two that he would announce what his office is supporting. And if he ultimately does support them being resentenced, I think that likely goes a long way in the judge saying, okay, yes, let's resentence here.
The Menendez brothers have also submitted a clemency plea directly to California Governor Gavin Newsom, who has said he won't make a decision on that clemency plea until the LA County DA is finished reviewing the case. The proposed resentencing for the brothers is set to be taken up at a hearing that will happen next month. Heavy rain in Oregon is triggering several mudslides that are blocking major roads across Portland. One mudslide is expected to keep a section of Northwest Cornell Road closed throughout the night. And further north, another slide is restricting traffic on Northwest Thompson Road. Heavy rain moved into the region over the weekend. This is the first time that storms have forced the closure of Portland's major thoroughfares this winter. People living along the Oregon coast have been experiencing wind gusts of up to 60 miles per hour. Cannon Beach was empty today, but in the downtown area, some people chose to brave the high winds. Businesses say they spent part of the day preparing for the extreme weather. One restaurant manager said they had their generator all ready to go just in case there's a power outage.
We always have it when we know there is a high wind warning. We always have it on standby, always have gas, on hand. I think today we might, hopefully fingers crossed we don't, but we might lose power.
Pacific Power says there have been a handful of outages in the coastal area today. For more on the conditions across the West Coast, let's bring in KTVU meteorologist Rosemary Orozco. And Rosemary, what are people in the Pacific Northwest looking at in terms of these winds? How long will they stick around?
Oh, they're still going strong, Alex, until tomorrow morning. Some of those advisories as the third storm arriving today since Friday. Here's a look over Seattle this evening. The afternoon high in Seattle, 52 degrees and lots of rain. As we take a look at the satellite and the radar, there's a look at that storm there moving in a bit closer, and the advisories that are in place. Notice all the shades out there. In addition to heavy rain, we've got the strong winds that Alex talked about. We have the shades of purple indicating winter weather advisories for travel due to some snow, and even their avalanche warning far north until tomorrow morning due to that concern there for avalanche, a very weak snowpack in some areas. The wind advisories going until the overnight hours over parts of the Pacific Northwest, Washington, Oregon, and there is a wind advisory here in Southern California as well for the Santa Barbara County area, the coastline, as well as the Santa Ynez Mountains. That will go until tomorrow morning. So the winds are cranking, so is the rain coming down. By tomorrow morning, it is beginning to move out, and by the afternoon tomorrow, the Pacific Northwest will finally get a break. Here's tomorrow night, where you can see we are in the dry for the entire West, and that rain is parked back in here. That will come later this week. Meanwhile, over areas of California and into the desert Southwest, a taste of spring, well above average in Arizona. Phoenix today, 86 degrees, and that is expected to continue into the days ahead. If we focus on the desert Southwest, even a minor heat risk is expected over the next few days. Upper 80s for Phoenix tomorrow, Wednesday, only slightly better on Thursday. Those temperatures are near the seasonal highs, so we will have to wait and see if they break any records there. But incredibly hot for this time of year over Phoenix. Meanwhile, Los Angeles enjoying upper 70s. You get closer to the Bay Area, San Francisco, several degrees above average. Upper 60s for tomorrow, 70 degrees on Wednesday when temperatures are expected to peak, and then a little bit cooler heading into the second half of the business week. Unsettled weather returning, it looks like, in time for the weekend, but back into the Pacific Northwest, where we will have showers for the first part of the day, and then areas of Seattle getting a break Wednesday and Thursday. Alex?
All right, Rosemary, thank you. A growing investigation is underway in Las Vegas tonight into people getting sick after receiving injections at an unlicensed medical facility. Today, police announced a third arrest in this case. The suspect was booked on suspicion of practicing medicine without a license and furnishing dangerous drugs without a prescription. Investigators say an undercover operation exposed the facility that was administering dangerous drugs without prescriptions. 2 other suspects were arrested last month. Pope Francis is showing signs of slight improvement, even though the pontiff remains in critical condition tonight. Fox 13's Sean Chitnis visited a church in Seattle where the faithful are getting his message as he battles pneumonia in both lungs.
We had the chance to speak to parishioners as they were attending morning mass, and their message, similar to what we are hearing from Catholics all over the world. They are praying for Pope Francis, certainly worried about his condition, but hopeful that he will recover. Here at St. James Cathedral, Pope Francis was mentioned multiple times during Mass over the past few days. Even this morning, once again, parishioners asked to pray for Pope Francis. Father Michael Ryan chose to share a letter from Pope Francis that was sent to the bishops across the country just before he fell ill. He read that message during Sunday's Mass. It addressed recent executive orders relating to immigration. The letter said in part that as bishops work closely with migrants and refugees, God will reward you for the protection and defense of those who are considered less valuable, less important, or less human. Father Ryan also led a prayer for the Pope during that service on Sunday. Here's what some of the people heading to morning Mass on Monday said before that service began.
You know, it's heartbreaking to think what could happen. He's such a wonderful man, and he's been a tremendous Pope to us. And so, yeah, it is heartbreaking to think, you know, nobody wants to think the worst, but, you know, the worst could happen.
I just came here every Monday Mass. It's my day off. Today's my Sunday. Just prayer for the world and everything, my problems. People like the Pope too, you know.
The Archdiocese of Seattle also shared a message on its Facebook page for Pope Francis. It was from the U.S. Conference of Catholic Bishops. It said in part to continue to keep the Holy Father in your prayers and ask for God to look favorably on his servant, Pope Francis. And we expect Mass to continue on its regular schedule every morning as well as on select weekday afternoons here at St. James Cathedral. Reporting in Seattle, Sean Chitness, Fox 13 News.
Coming up tonight here on West Coast Wrap, trapped on a cliff in Utah, the lucky find for a father and son that helped them survive until rescuers arrived. There's new hope for skin cancer patients. An Arizona clinic is offering a new clinical trial to help treat patients with recurrent squamous cell sarcoma. Fox's Dominique Newland visited the Phoenix clinic to learn how that treatment works.
Alliance Dermatology in Phoenix has a new addition coming to their patient care, and especially when it comes to skin cancer. A new treatment called Alpha Dart.
Alpha Dart is a very innovative therapy. It actually is a localized anti-cancer treatment. It's basically these very small seeds that are implanted into the tumor directly.
Dr. Jazz says squamous cell carcinoma is one of the most common types of skin cancer in Arizona due to our state's high year-round UV exposure. And for those diagnosed, this trial can help the cancerous tumor.
The patients come in, and in one session, these small seeds are implanted into the tumor under local anesthesia. And then the patient can go home and they carry on with their daily routine.
The treatment deploys alpha particles directly into the tumor, destroying it from the inside out without damaging healthy tissue and minimal downtime.
These are very targeted ways of destroying tumor cells without affecting healthy tissue. Because usually either we cut out the tissue, this is Mohs surgery, we radiate it from outside, pretty effective, but it's multiple sessions. This treatment is a one session.
Dr. Jazz's office started the trial this week and will be the first site in Arizona to conduct the trial. For Fox 10 News, I'm Dominique Newland.
And finally tonight, newly released video shows first responders using a helicopter to rescue a father and son who got stuck on a cliff in Utah. The state's Department of Public Safety posted this video online showing the crew locating the man and his 12-year-old son in Snow Canyon Park last week. The pair got trapped while hiking. A backpack that was left behind by another hiker previously rescued from the same area helped those two get through their ordeal. The backpack had food, water, and emergency blankets inside. The father and son used them as they were stuck for several hours on that cliff before being rescued, and the rescue team eventually did hoist them to safety, and thankfully that backpack was in the right place to help them out there. And that does it for West Coast Wrap tonight. We appreciate you watching. As always, a reminder here before we go, you can stay up to date on all the stories we're covering online at westcoastwrap.com, and you can stream our shows for free with your smart TV by downloading the Fox Local app. A beautiful shot here of SFO. Have a great night.